Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Missy, and if this is your first time on this channel, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel and also check out my vlog channel that is down in the description box below. We put out new vlogs every single day. So if you're curious as to what I do on a daily basis as a stay-at-home mom, then check out that channel. But today I'm going to talk about how to transition your toddler out of their crib. So I have 10 tips for you today on transitioning your toddler out of a crib and into a bed. Jumping right into it, I'm going to start with number 1. Make sure your toddler is actually ready. Most likely, your child is either going to tell you verbally or physically that they are ready to be out of their crib. And by this, I mean they're either going to say, "Mommy, Daddy, I want a big boy bed," or they will start climbing out of their crib. In which case, if they're climbing out of their crib, then for safety reasons, you probably need to switch them sooner rather than later. Tip number 2 is to time the transition appropriately. You want to make sure that you're making this transition at a calm time in life. You don't want to make a lot of transitions at the same time because your child will just get overwhelmed and then you're going to be dealing with behavior issues. Don't transition your kid if you're having a baby like next week. Plan ahead for it if you need to move the kid out of the crib in order to use the crib for your baby. You also don't want to make this transition if your kid is starting preschool, or if you are weaning from breastfeeding, or if you're moving. You definitely do not want to make this transition. You don't want to say, okay, new house, new room, new bed. That's not gonna be a good idea, because when you move into a new house, your kid's life is like switched upside down. You want to put them in a bedroom with familiar objects. So if you're planning on putting your kid in a toddler bed or a twin bed when you move, then you should make the transition to the bed before the move. Another time not recommended to transitioning to a bed is when you're potty training. You should decide what you want to do first, if you want to potty train first or if you want to move to a toddler bed first. For us, it worked to potty train first because we chose not to do night potty training at the same time that we did day potty training. I'm a firm believer that night potty training will happen when a child's muscles are further developed, but that's a different video for a whole nother day. So just make sure that you're timing your transition appropriately. On to tip number 3, you should really consider your different options, because if you have a convertible crib, you have the option of just taking off the front and putting up a safety rail. You also have the opportunity to get an awesome like race car bed if you wanted to do a toddler bed, or you could just switch to a twin bed and either put the mattress on the floor or use the safety rails on the side. Tip number 4 is to show your child examples of other kids or adults in a big boy or big girl bed. If you go to a grandparent's house, ask if you can pop in their bedroom real quick and just say, "Oh, hey, here's grandma and grandpa's bed, here's auntie and uncle's bed." Or if they have cousins or friends or anybody else, it's always a really good opportunity to show your kid that everybody sleeps in a bed. Other ways of showing examples would be when you're reading your kid a book at night. Chances are, if you're reading a bedtime book, you're going to see a child in a bed in the book. So point out the kid in the bed and say, "Oh, look it, there's this character in the book or movie is sleeping in a big bed, and you're gonna get to sleep in a big bed soon too." Introducing the concept and the idea of a big person bed is going to be beneficial in the long run. Tip number 5 is to give your toddler options and let them feel like they're in control of the change. So by this, I really mean let your kid pick out the bed sheets that they want. Maybe let them pick out a couple different pairs of sheets, because we all know you're gonna go through a lot of them. So just make sure that you're stocked up with whatever size sheets you need and let your kid pick them out, because that way they're gonna be excited to get in bed that night. Another thing that you can let them pick is maybe a few of their stuffed animals that you would want them to sleep with at night. You can tell them, "Hey, let's pick maybe 2 or 3 of your stuffed animals and you can put them on your bed." This is also a great time to teach your kid about making their bed, because chances are they weren't making their bed when they were in a crib. Tip number 6 is highly, highly important. You need to reevaluate your child-proofing in your house. This means that you need to double check your safety gates at the top of the stairs if you are having your child sleep at an upper level of the house, because once they are in their bed and they have the freedom to get out, you never know if they're gonna try and go downstairs and get themselves a cup of milk and some cookies in the middle of the night. You're also gonna wanna check the locks on your doors to both like medicine cabinets, basements, and especially the outside. It is so important to teach your kids to make sure that they never, ever, ever touch the doors to the outside without a grown-up with them. The other thing you're gonna wanna check is your windows. Make sure that your windows are safe, locked, and make sure that your toddler can't access the windows from wherever you have the bed. Tip number 7 is to ease into the transition. Have your toddler practice laying in mom and dad's bed or a sibling's bed or a family member's bed and just pretend to sleep and just kind of play around in the bed and get them used to not having like 4 walls around them. The other thing that you're going to want to ease into is not moving around all the furniture in the bedroom. If you put the toddler bed or twin bed, whatever you choose, in the same place as the crib, then the child is gonna understand like, okay, this still means bedtime. Moving on to tip number 8, you wanna make sure that you are still maintaining the same bedtime routine. This is pretty much just a rule of thumb to just keep it consistent, don't fix it if it's not broken, and just continue doing what you've been doing, because if it's been working for you, then don't change it. Tip number 9 is to make sure that your child understands the rules of bedtime. Try and instill like a last call rule for last call to go potty, last call to get a drink of water, or anything else that might need to be situated before they get into bed. Make sure your toddler knows that once you tuck them in and turn off the light, that's it. Don't keep going in and saying, okay, this is the last kiss, okay, this is the last hug, okay, one more story. Just don't. You have to be strong and you have to just say, okay, you get 1 or 2 stories, you get tucked in, you get your kiss, good night, that's it. And then if they continue to get out of their bed, don't even say anything to them. Just pick them up, bring them back to their bed, tuck them in, give them a kiss, and walk out of the room. That way they still know that you're there, they still know that you're gonna take care of them, but you're not stimulating them and giving them a reason to want to be out of bed. If you make it boring, they're just gonna go to sleep. Then the last tip here, tip number 10, is to praise the crap out of good habits in their bed. Because once they discover this new freedom, they're seriously going to explore, and they're going to try and get up in the middle of the night, and they are going to think that they are the boss of the house. So either set up a reward system with charts and stickers, or if treats work, it's kind of like bribery. But I'm telling you, if it works, then stick to it. So those are my 10 tips for you guys for transitioning your toddler out of their crib and into whatever kind of toddler bed you guys choose to use. I do have one question that I am wondering if anybody out there has ever used the okay to wake clock. I've also heard of like the red light, green light clock or something. Like if it's green, you can be seen. If it's red, stay in bed. I'm just wondering if those are worth the money, if people have tried them before. It's something that we are considering. Obviously, Timmy doesn't know how to tell time yet, but if there is a red light, green light system that we can use on an alarm clock, then that might be a really good tool to use. So let me know in the comments down below if you guys have experience with those kinds of clocks or any other type of thing. And I hope that you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up. I really hope that it was helpful for you guys, and I will see you next time. Bye!